Greetings, Samurai! Today we will be looking at Courts of Stone, the second of the source books for the Legend of the Five Rings Roleplaying Game line from Fantasy Flight Games. The subtitle for this volume is The Essential Guide to Castles and Politics in Rokugan. The design strategy for these books is to use a loose theme and cram as diverse a selection of topics in as possible, including locations, clans, history, culture, and new mechanics. It also seeks to include material that would be relevant to both players and GMs alike. The theme of this volume is politics, particularly the urban courts of the great clans, and the most astutely political of all the great clans is introduced here in 20 pages, along with the Deer minor clan, known for their matchmaking role. Like the Shadowlands book before it, this is the first in a trilogy of related items, the next being the Physical Adventure, Winter's Embrace, and finally some free downloadable content. It is a hardback book of 144 pages, the same as the previous volume. It is case-bound, so it opens and lays flat with no damage to the spine, and the pages are fully stitched in place. It has the usual red banding on the front, spine and back, plus the same art on the front and rear end papers that tie the books in this line together. There is also an unadorned print of the cover art inside. There is no index, sadly, just a brief and to the point contents page. The page numbers are to the left of the topics, which we still find odd and hard to use. Each page is numbered in large numerals except where it would intrude on any art. The book is divided into 3 chapters plus a tiny introduction. This consists of a 2-page story and brief overview of the book itself and each chapter. It uses the same graphic design style as all the books, making use of box outs and sidebars, so you should feel right at home. There is plenty of artwork crammed into even the smallest of blank spaces, the majority of which you will have seen in the card game. There are some geographic illustrations, all but one is too small to easily support the official tokens, particularly if your party regularly splits up. There is a new map of the Crane and Mantis lands, whose labels are small enough to encourage you to buy the one in the forthcoming adventure, particularly as most of the map is blank sea. Adventure seeds are again defined in the introduction and promise to appear throughout the book, but we only found a single one in Chapter 2. It looks like these were forgotten about, as they could have easily appeared instead of a large piece of art. The first and longest chapter begins with a full-page picture and unfortunately black text on a dark background. This is a 4-paragraph piece of fiction that is more extended flavor text than complete story. Then the topic of castles or strongholds begins, which, as well as being dwellings and fortifications, are centres and projections of both clan and individual family might. Their architecture, construction, residence and political role is all discussed, leading to the subject of the Winter Court. Although it describes this as the most important social event in all of Rokugan, it condenses this into 3 pages of detail. Things then move on to some sample castles, all of which get 3 or more pages. Most of these are from the Crane clan, which leads nicely into 20 pages all about the most courtly of all the great clans. The individual families and the Crane lands form the bulk of the detail and give you the merest taster of 30 years of lore. The final subject is the significance of the court and the impact actions taken here have on all of Rokugani life. Chapter 2 presents plenty of new player options. It opens with another fictional vignette, but this time using white text on a dark background to make it readable. The Deer minor clan, who were not mentioned in the core book, are afforded an impressive 10 pages, including the book's only adventure seed. There are 9 new schools, many of which have shinobi in the description, as well as 5 pages of new advantages, disadvantages, and anxieties. There is a new samurai heritage table for characters with connections to the Crane clan. You also have 8 whole pages of gear, including shinobi weapons. There are plenty of new techniques, including 9 for ninjutsu practitioners, 3 diplomatic rituals, and assorted shuji. The final and shortest chapter deals with running a Winter Court themed game, one of the many classic styles of Legends of the Five Rings role-playing. There is almost a full page of safety information, which probably should have appeared in the main rulebook. This presents signals and methodologies for players to communicate about uncomfortable themes and situations, which sensibly appears right before the section on role-playing romance and intimacy. Elsewhere in the book, it gives you reminders to treat subjects borrowed from other cultures with sensitivity and respect. You have 2.5 pages on shinobi PCs, then a generous 9 new titles and some examples of spending opportunity in courtly games. The Bushido tenet of the day is of course courtesy. A new subject and something to spend your XP on are bonds. You might think interpersonal drama and relationships are something purely for roleplay and a discussion between players and GM. Here are 3.5 pages that suggest you purchase family, friends, comrades, lovers, and even rivals and nemesis from a table with a cost. The chapter closes out with a 7-step guide to creating a court of your own from scratch and suggests involving the players in creating the NPCs which populate it. There are also a couple of pages about generating well-rounded non-player characters with realistic needs and motivations. They even supply a court sheet for you to track your new movers and shakers. You can download this from the main FFG website in a printer-friendly black and white or with pretty coloured background. And that is everything you get in 144 pages. FFG releases the L5R role-playing products in pairs, with every hardback sourcebook having a companion adventure product. In this case, Winter's Embrace. This has an oversized map and a new set of counters too. In addition, there is some free downloadable content which you can use to expand that adventure or work it into a campaign of your own. Thank you for watching, Samurai, and we will see you again when the next product comes out.